Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the beautiful Vero Engineering Isotope integral, however you'd like to say that. Wow. So let me tell you real quick, most of the content, if you're not familiar with my channel, most of the content on my channel is actually provided by the people who watch it. You guys. People send me things for review, they loan things to me, and then I send them back. A lot of people think that everything that I show on this channel was given to me for free. No. No, that's not how this channel works. Absolutely not. Anything that a lot of the stuff that I give for free, I usually give it away on live streams, if you don't know that. This knife, however, was not loaned to me. It was not given to me. I bought this knife. This was easily one of the most beautiful things that I have seen in 2021. Now, this is a special variant of the Isotope. It's the same as the standard production version. It's a production knife, but it's got a Damascus inlay, which makes it substantially more expensive than the micarta or carbon fiber versions. There were, to my knowledge, only 9 of these that were made. I'm going to be approaching this as if I'm reviewing the standard version, because the standard version is exactly the same thing, except the inlay material is either carbon fiber, copper, or micarta, or possibly G10, I think those, and they all run about the same, if I'm not mistaken. So this is very cool. I can't wait to talk about it, but just to be clear, this is mine and I definitely paid for it. Thank you so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and measure this knife. This knife was way bigger than I thought it was going to be, which I'm a fan of larger knives, right? That creates an issue sometimes in carry for some people, but you know, the collector enthusiast in me, for whatever reason, I do tend to gravitate towards a larger knife. This is 8.75 inches overall with a 4-inch, maybe a 3.9-inch blade and a 3.75-inch cutting edge. Before we get started with the regular size comparisons, I do also own, because I am personally a fan of, sorry, I'm leaning over, Vero Engineering and their knives. I do own a Synapse XL. So anybody who owns the Synapse XL, you can see here, that's a big knife from Vero. And yeah, we are looking at a little bit shorter body and blade, but really just as big overall. So yeah, let's go ahead and do some other size comparisons here. Get this guy back to the middle. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. There we go. And the Ontario Rat Model 2. So I think you can see there exactly how big of a knife this is. It's not a hulking, you know, cold steel fan. That ain't no big knife. Oh, you should check out the Colt. Stop. Don't care. I've seen them. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, as far as like the average pocket knife goes, what I'm saying, I'm not asking you, please, I need to know how masculine you are and how big your knife is that you're carrying. No, I'm saying as far as the average knife goes, this is a big knife. Up against the Benchmade bug out in the Ritter Hogue here. Yeah, as you can see, big knife. Okay. Did we do the PM2 and Para 3? I think we skipped those. Let's go ahead and do them real quick. Up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Okay, have we got this down? It's a big, this knife big. Knife not small, knife big. Okay, thickness. First off, let me give you a demonstration of the action here. Wow. Yeah. It's smooth. Yeah, we're looking at some contouring here going on. So it is a bit thicker than the Spyderco Para 3. Not massive, but it is all one piece of titanium. So it is definitely heavier. But we'll go ahead and do the measurement this way. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here that this is it's a little bit long, maybe the exact same body length as the PM2, but it's nowhere near as tall because there's not, the flipper tab just goes straight up. So it's still, even at maximum height, it's still not quite as tall as the PM2 or Para 3. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness on this guy. Blade stock thickness on the Vero Isotope. I think these come in at about 155 thousandths. Let's wait until my calipers decide to do their job. You have one job. You have one job. Do it. That's the only reason you exist in the entire universe, is just to be accurate. 156, probably 155 thousandths. Let's go and weigh it. Oh, it's going to be a thick boy. Yeah, the entire frame is titanium. This is not sandwich construction. It's milled out of a single block of titanium. And then we have no internal milling. I don't know how they do it, you know, even if they could. Perhaps it's possible, but this is not. So this is going to be a heavy, heavy knife at 6 ounces. Now for me, this is a knife that's still well within the range of carry. But for people, you know, a lot of other people, maybe you wear lighter paint material, maybe you don't like heavy knives, right? Maybe you like lighter, shorter knives. This is just going to be too big of an object for a lot of people to carry. It just depends on your personal lifestyle, right? The ratios on this are also not perfect, and the balance is thrown off by the fact that we have it's all titanium, and then it's titanium Damascus, or Timascus as the inlay material. So the balance is honestly not bad. It's in this, I mean, this choil area is so big, right? But as far as the distance from the pivot, right, we're balanced, I don't know, about 1.25 inches away from the pivot. So I don't know, whatever your measurements are, it's going to be too big and too heavy for some people. And for other people like me, you're not going to care at all, right? Let's go and do a hardware check. Get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of the description that talks about my tools. So the nice thing about an integral is that there's really no reason to take it apart. It is the ultimate in terms of, you know, minimal hardware. There is no disassembly. You can pull the pivot out and take the blade out, but the handle, you don't disassemble it, right? Is this, yeah, that's going to be a T8 pivot. We also have a T8 lock bar insert screw, and we have a T8, I know people, oh my gosh, you're going to put that up next to the Timascus clip? Yeah, that's mine, so whatever. Yeah, T8 across the board. So that's great. Really, it gets a free pass, you know, and also this inlay screw right here, which we're going to talk about, gets a free pass on, you know, ease of disassembly because it's an integral. There's really just not much going on there. So that's awesome. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. This is a beautiful object, and this is the design and the beauty of it obviously is owed mainly to Joseph Vero of Vero Engineering. I said this in the unboxing. Now, not everybody likes Vero's designs, but I think it's easy. This is an easy thing to say. You can, if you like them or you don't like them, everybody knows what a Vero looks like. This is very distinct. You see a Vero and you can immediately go, that is a Vero Engineering knife. And that's something that you want to establish as a designer. You want your knives to have an aesthetic that is instantly recognizable. Whether you love it or hate it, it's good for the brand. You don't want something that is so bland and so it's basically camouflage amidst this massive infinite backdrop of other knives that look exactly the same. No, Vero Engineering has a specific look, right? A lot of people say, oh, well, it looks like the FIF 20, or it looks like... No, I would disagree with you. That looks like, I mean, if you mean like a simple, straight, clean, modern aesthetic, okay, there's a gajabillion other designs out there that have a simple, straight, clean aesthetic, right? But no, it's not the same thing at all. This looks totally different. And that's what I like about it. Now, I personally am a fan. That's why I own 2. That's why I paid for 2 Vero Engineering knives, because I am a fan. I like how these look. Now, ergonomically, the biggest issue with these is the pocket clip. I've said this for a while now, same thing on the Synapse XL. The pocket clip is too long. We also have a pretty aggressive bill up here that if I was going to use this, right, I use the Synapse XL. This one's more of a, you know, just a knife that's just for me as a collector, right? But you can choke up on it. It's pretty comfortable. This area in here is obviously not a choil. It's just an area where you are sort of choked up. By the way, it says number 168, which a lot of people are going to say, you said there's only 9 of those. I imagine the frames, right? Because all the frames are the same, and then the inlay material. There were only 9 with the Timascus inlay material, as far as I understand, right? So this was frame or, you know, basically chassis number, or whatever you call the skeleton of the knife, number 168. Still, all small batch, all of the Veros. It's not they're not making thousands of these, right? But anyways, the pocket clip, while it looks beautiful, and it absolutely goes along with the design, and I love how it's milled into, look at this area back here. That is just, I love that. It looks so good. But the pocket clip is too long, and I can feel it, right? This area right here is also gigantic. So if I choke back, it's like there's almost too much in here. If I choke up, it's like this finger is dedicated to, I don't want to put my other fingers in there. It's just this finger, but it's got so much room. It's comfortable, but it's not amazing. The edges are absolutely knocked down quite a bit. The inlay work is, oh my gosh. I talked with Al, the science pal, immediately after I got this, and I said, is your inlay just like perfection? And he said, yes, absolutely. And that's obviously the design owed to Vero, Joseph Vero, but the manufacturing quality here is owed to Bestech, because that's who did this. Bestech has always existed in a very specific realm in my mind. They've been right around we, in some cases, you know, a lot of the stuff that we has manufactured has seemed superior to Bestech. This, in my head, takes Bestech to a whole new realm of possibility. Obviously, not everything that's coming out of Bestech has this feeling of quality. And again, I have to credit, you know, the information that Joseph Vero sends over to Bestech, basically, you know, this is how I want this made, is it allows Bestech to show people what they are capable of. This is easily Riot level production quality. I did not know that that Bestech could create something this precise. It's awesome. Everything, there's one tiny little thing, but just about everything about this knife is just absolutely wonderful. I like the lines. Ergonomics, not incredible. I'd give them a B, maybe a B minus, but my goodness, does it look good, right? Trying to balance aesthetics with, or the aesthetic with the ergonomic function, right? Sometimes that can be an issue. Maybe that he was splitting the difference there, but you know, the end result was, wow, it's beautiful, and it's pretty easy to hang on to, right? Just being honest. Just love the chamfered edges and how we follow this. There's a line, you know, where it arrives at, it's actually not a flat, it's contour, but it's the area outside of the inlay it's outlined all the way around. It's just beautiful. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't change anything about it. Screw the, you know, like, it's like the ergonomic lines are good enough. I wouldn't change anything about the aesthetic of the scales, or well, the handle and the inlays to get better ergonomics. I prefer it this way. Right? The one thing that sucks is that screw right there. Well, in terms of there's one other thing about the knife, but the one thing that bothers me aesthetically is that there's a screw right there. I wish I'm sure there's a way, you know, a lot of the inlays that I see are just fixed in there. Maybe there's some sort of metal, you know, adhesive or something that holds these in. I really wish there wasn't a screw right there, but you know what? It's okay. I would have anodized it blue or purple. You know, I would have made that screw titanium and anodized it so at least blended, right? Or if it's a carbon fiber inlay, make it a black screw, right? Obviously, it's harder with the red micarta, right? But I honestly prefer that the screw wasn't there, but it is. All right, pivot looks good. That blade, man. So they did, they've got belt satin finish, hand rub satin finish, and tumbled. I actually would have preferred tumbled, but with this one, I didn't really have it. It's not like I could sit there and go, which one do I want, right? This was available and I bought it. I like their belt satin finish. This looks good. Bestech has not always done a perfect job with belt satin finishes, but this looks good. You can see there. You don't have to take my word for it, right? This looks good. Would have preferred tumbled. I'll show you what their tumbled finish looks like. I'll get that. Where'd it go? Where are you? There we go. Their tumbled finish is my favorite. And it's generally the least expensive, though I think it was all the same price. Just like that nice consistency there, right? I don't like to see the grind lines if I have the option, but I'm okay. I would rather have owned the Synapse Isotope in a belt satin finish than not owned it at all. What's the blade steel? It is M390. Does it say it anywhere? I'm not sure that it does, but it is definitely M390. Love that he puts Vero on the spine so we get to enjoy everything about this knife we get to enjoy without having to see any maker's logos or anything like that. The stop pin is internal, and it follows the blade, so it acts, as a stop pin that braces on either side of the titanium, mitigating pressure away from the pivot in a sort of twisty cut or pry cut, right? Is it necessary? No. Does it make the knife that much more durable? No. Is it better than a traditional stop pin with a single point of contact? I like to think so, but maybe that's just my internal believies, right? I don't know. There's a flat that carries out 40% the length of the blade, and then it just sort of tapers out to the tip, which is fairly robust, right? But this does come down to a reasonably thin cutting edge. It's not laser beam thin, but will it slice? Yes. Is the edge done consistent? Yeah, the edge is nice and glassy, and the cutting edge is very consistent out to the tip. Very nice. No wonky areas, no nothing. This is great. I love that there's a little rectangle in the back for the reverse flick, which works beautifully. I also like the flipper tab. It's very easy to light switch and very unobtrusive, right? There's no area up here that's too pronounced. See, like if you do this, if that's too pronounced, then that area catches your finger and it keeps it from flipping, but that's not the case. There is no double clutch or anything like that. Now, because there is no flipper tab here, you have to be careful, as you saw there, because that area, it's always going to pass your thumb. And unless you are pushed as close up to the top of that frame lock as possible, right, to catch it in the sharpening choil, you're going to catch some blade on your finger, right? So with this knife, what I do is I lay it horizontal and get it to just fall enough and then turn. It would have been nice to have something to catch for the people. Obviously, a lot of the people who pick this up or would be interested in it like to manipulate these types of knives with one hand. But I have had to train myself to be aware of that, right? To just let it go a little bit and then turn it. But it is absolutely, completely, and totally falls shut. One of the most beautiful areas of this knife is back here. I don't like to see holes or anything. Sometimes I like some texturing, but truthfully, on an integral knife, I just like to, basically what's on display here is the fact that this was a brick of titanium and it was milled into a handle. There's nothing back here. There's a little ridge back here where it changes angles, right? Another one right here. This is beautiful to me. I love the butt end of this knife. It's just awesome. The spine and the back end is, oh man, that is just beautiful. I love integral titanium knives. I just think they are spectacular. Now you're gonna pay a lot more. Yes, it's just titanium. Let's pretend the Timascus is not here. For those of you who don't know, you're gonna pay a lot more money for Timascus. Let's pretend that Timascus isn't here. The fact that this is a integral knife, they have to start with a brick of titanium, then mill it flawlessly. They get one shot at that, right? It's not like they mess something up. Oh, we'll just replace that part. No, they mess that titanium frame up. That's the whole block of titanium that they started with gone, out the window. They got to do it again. It is definitely more expensive. Even though this knife is manufactured in China with Bestech, it is definitely more expensive to do this, right? You are just going to pay more money for an integral. If that's not something that you value, right, you might be asking yourself, what's the benefit of an integral knife? Is it stronger? I don't know. You might be able to make a argument for that because there's no, it's not like the knife is, the integrity is up to the fitment of the piece as the sandwich or pillar construction of a standard titanium frame lock or a traditional frame lock. It's all one piece. So the integrity is within that one piece of titanium, right? I don't know, maybe. I'd also, it's an easier disassembly because you can take the blade out and put it back in. I would say, no, not really. It's mainly just, you get to enjoy the fact that it was milled from a single block of titanium. A lot of people don't have any use for that, right? So if that's not a value to you, then it's not a value to you. Go buy something else. I promise you there are other knives out there. For me, yeah, I will absolutely pay more money for a titanium integral knife. In fact, I plan on continuing to purchase more and more and more titanium integrals. I just really enjoy them. Not necessarily a new thing. They've been around for a while. Pocket clip, like I said, beautiful. No position for left-handed carry. Sorry, lefties. But it does look good. Very, very beautiful pocket clip that follows the lines of the knife and just looks nice. And you know what? It's a clip that we see on his other designs. So he's managed to, it's because the design language is so similar between his stuff, in a good way, that this clip works on all, I think, pretty much all of his designs. It looks nice. I like how he did the frame lock here, right? It comes up and there's a little, another one of those peaks that you see in the titanium, and it starts to fall and it comes up here and there's a little diagonal line. It comes here and then it comes down, and it's nice. It just looks good. Lockup. Yeah, completely and totally solid. We are locking up. It's hard to see because the actual engagement is tucked up underneath there. Probably 30%, something like that. There is a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop, so that's nice. We have 0, 0, 0, 0 blade play, up, down, left, or right. We have 0 pivot lash, and we have 0 detent play. Now, one other thing that bothers me, and this is a Bestech thing. Bestech's detents, this one is a little more clicky than I'm used to with Bestech, but it's kind of a lump, right? It's in there. It's not moving. I want to hear a click. What's a good example? Let's, Hinder has a great click, right? You can hear that crisp detent break. Here, listen, ready? Click, right? What's another good one? It's got a good click. The Les George VECP. Click, right? This is more of a thud. I'll give you one more example. I know I don't need to. People are like, okay, we get it. Let's do one that's got a Chinese OEM. Let's do the Chavez 229 made by Riot, right? Click. It's a good one. Click. Want that distinct click and not a thud. Why? Why do I want that? I don't know. It's synonymous with quality. It seems like there's almost extra space that as far as the descent of the detent ball into the detent hole, it feels like there's an unnecessarily elongated ramp. I don't actually know that. It's just what's happening inside my head. I don't make knives, right? But the detent ball is definitely the right size for the hole and vice versa. It just has a lump. It's okay. I'd be really upset if it moved, if there were detent lash, but it doesn't, right? I just want that click. I've seen that with Bestech. It would be nice to see them work on that all the way around. But I want that clicky. Again, I think best demonstrated here by the Hinder and the Chavez. That's what I want, that click. Anyways, so yeah, this is easily one of the coolest knives that I have handled in 2021. And a lot of that comes down to personal preference. I am a fan of Vero engineering knives. I really like how this stuff looks. I'm also a huge fan of titanium integrals. If you are not a fan of integrals, you see no value in them, then you can stop right here. Because the value justification is going to include the fact that this is an integral. It's not going to be based purely on the fact that this is using materials that can be found at a lower price point. Titanium and M390. I am aware that you can get that stuff for $150 from some brands. I'm aware, but this is an integral. It is made to a level of quality. Not only is it an integral knife, it's also made to a level of quality that you do not see at that $150 to $200 price point. So keep that in mind moving forward. That sounded really pretentious and very preachy, but I have to say that, right? I want you guys to understand where I'm going with valuation here. I think the most offensive price I've seen here lately for a titanium integral is, and I think you're all going to agree with me, the James brand, the Barnes, made by Riot. They're trying to pull off, what was it, $625 for that, up to $650 for some of the inlaid ones? No, no, thank you. This is a Bestech made integral. Oftentimes people just immediately, well, if it's not Riot, it needs to be lower, right? Fair enough. this knife comes in, now the Timascus one, way more. But there are only 9 of them, so we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the production ones, which, by the way, I saw on the website that he has coming soon isotopes in copper. So they're still making these, and I hope they continue to make these. Copper, micarta, carbon fiber, and perhaps G10, I can't remember. They're all $525. Definitely not the most offensive, especially compared to the James brand, right? No, it's not terrible. I still, considering, again, the Riot did the Jack 2 for $450. I think the price of the Isotope should have been right around $450, $425 to $450. But it's made in China. It's still an integral knife. We're still seeing amazing levels of fit and finish, amazing levels of precision. We're talking about design work from somebody, right? This design is so good that somebody like Bestech, who does great work, right? But their potential is emphasized by somebody who can create a design that just works so well that when it's manufactured by somebody like Bestech, it brings them up to, in this case, about what I expect from Riot. This is a Riot knife. This is a Riot-made knife, right? That's a good knife, right? The 229, kind of a clunky design. Riot's quality is great, but telling you here, we got a Bestech Precision Integral. We got a Riot frame lock here, right? So this is M390 in titanium. The 229s came in at $350. We got a Bestech Integral, which I think should have been priced at about $425 to $450, right? I love my 229, and it's made very well. But if I were to say which one has a better example of precision, it's the Isotope. Definitely. I never thought I'd say that about a Bestech. And again, I'm not saying Bestech's ever been bad. I've just always in my head, based on what I had handled, placed it below Riot manufacturing quality. I think the Isotope is a bit high, but oh my gosh, if you like how this looks, are you going to be satisfied? Listen, don't go to the aftermarket and pay, it's too much. I fully believe that Joseph Vero will continue to, I don't know this, I hope he continues to make the Isotope, right? I think, let me be clear, again, $525 I think is a bit high. We're getting up into the multiple hundreds, right? So it's like, if a Civivi knife was $50 to $75 overpriced, would I be upset? Well, yeah, because those are only $50 knives. But we're talking the difference between $450 and $525. That's $75 up from there, right? This could probably pass a bit higher. If they had this priced at $475, I'd be like, yeah, that's close. That's just right about there, ballpark, right? So let's call it $75 to $50 overpriced. That extra $50 to $75 is substantially less offensive because I'm already paying so much for it. If you like how this looks, and you can choke down that extra $50 to $75, right, if you're on the same plane as me, you're going to be happy with this. This is very, very good. I like it. Mushy detent. Wish that was something different. Wish that it didn't have the screw right here. And I wish the pocket clip didn't have quite the aggressive bill on it, maybe a bit shorter. But my goodness, is it beautiful anyway. I'm going to say this right now for those of you still with me here at the 28-minute mark. This is absolutely one of the top 10 knives of 2021. It will be on that end of the year list. It might be my favorite knife of 2021. It might be. We got a little bit to go. There's a couple of things coming in that I really need to handle first, but wow. Wow, the Isotope is really awesome. Is it recommendable? I mean, it's definitely not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be available, right? It's expensive. You have to really be into the integral thing. You have to see value in that. This is going on my favorite knives of all time playlist. This is not a knife that I can say every person in the knife world should be rushing out to get their hands on an Isotope. It's obviously not going to be for everybody. But is it one of my favorite knives I've ever handled? Yes. It's also one of my favorite knives in my current collection. I own a lot of knives. This knife is easily in my own personal top 10 favorite knives in my collection and therefore in existence. So obviously it's going to be one of my favorites of 2021. I want to be very, very clear and direct about this. I love this knife. It is excellent. Oh boy, that's going to be it. This is a 30-minute upload. I think that's enough, right? I hope you guys at least found this mildly entertaining. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all of my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.